Hi, I'm Miss Dara from the Rogers Public Library, and today we're doing Creative Coders. So today we're going to talk about sequencing, and we're going to try to code a story. So if you remember, we talked about an algorithm, which is like a sequence of steps to complete something, and it's what the computer uses to complete a program. Also, we talked about debugging last week. So we learned what a bug is in a computer program, and we learned about taking out bugs. So basically, you're finding the errors and fixing them. So today we want to be computational thinkers, or think like a computer. And so just like in a story, if there are missing steps, then the story won't make sense or the computer program won't run right. So when a program is run, the computer goes through a whole sequence or an algorithm without stopping. So if there's a mistake, then the end result will be wrong. In a story, if your sequence is wrong or there's a mistake in the story, something's out of order, something like that, then it won't work right. So you can code a story in the same way we can code for the computer. So we're going to code the 3 little pigs. So I made a little sheet here, and it's a little bitty. So you can create this at home. You just need a grid, and you need some little characters, and then you need to pick a story. So this is our characters, and I made it in a bigger version. So let's do this. So we need to put this in sequence. The pigs move out on their own. So here's our 3 little pigs, and they've moved out on their own. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, the first little pig, which this is the first little pig, he built his house out of straw. So how are we going to get to that house where he built? So we're going to need to move one space right and then another space so that he gets to his house and builds his house. But then the next little pig, pig number 2, he built his out of sticks. So we have to move him over and down. But what if instead of going down another one, we decide to go this way? Would that be a mistake? Not yet. But if we go over here and that's our end result, then that would be a problem because we would never get him to his house. But if we go down and over, we can get him right to his house. And then we have the 3rd little pig. He's really dressed nicely compared to the other 2. We're going to take him down and down and down. And then we're going to take him over and over and over to his house. So we have 3 little pigs, and they all went to their houses. So our story is just right thus far. So the first little pig is at his house, and along comes who? The big bad wolf. So we're going to code him over 1. And from here, I think he can blow down that house. What do you guys think? I think that's a good plan. So he huffs, and he puffs, and he blows the house down. And so little pig runs to his brother's house. So if we have the story going right, it's in order. But what if instead of doing this, we decide he's just going to go over here to the 3rd little pig? So we go over, down, 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 and he huffs and he puffs. What happened to these guys? That would be a mistake. So when we see our error and find it, we would need to back him back up. Let's take him back up here to where he was and go back and redo this again. So we're going to go down, and we don't want him to go right on top of the house. So we go over and over, and now he's right there in front. Do you think these little pigs are scared? I think they probably are. So let's move these little pigs because they're probably going to run before he even huffs and puffs because they know, right, that the other house blew down. So they're going to run down over to their brother, to his house. And let's tape this up there so maybe it'll stay. Okay, so he huffs and he puffs and he blows the house down. And our other one fell down, but that's just because it didn't tape very well. So we're going to have to stick them kind of off to the side. There we go. So you have to use your imagination and pretend that they're in the house. Okay, so we're going to move him. We have to code him to him, so we need to make our steps. And so our sequence would be, we're going to go down one, over, over to there, or we could go over, over, and down. Let's just do this. Down, over, and over. And he huffs, and he puffs, and nothing happens. Because they're all safe in the nice brick house. And so in our story, we have coded it from up here in the very beginning all the way to the end, and we created the right story. We had a few hiccups along the way, but we got through it, didn't we? So that was coding. And so you guys can try it at home on your own. Just pick a story, create your grid. You can use toys, like you can just use tape on the floor to create your grid and use your toys and put obstacles in your way, or however you want it to get it to go to the story, to get your story to come to the end result. Another way we can do coding is there's lots of games that do coding. This one is called Code Hopper, and it's one we have at the library that you can use, and you just lay it out kind of like hopscotch, and it has instructions on it of things you can do, like wiggle your fingers, point in the air, touch your toes, and then there's also like repeat 3 times, a stop, and then there's also some like directional things. This one is, do you see a triangle? And then there's just different things like yes. And so you can code your hopscotch and you have to do what it says. So that's really cool and fun too. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.